CES 2018 coverage is brought to you by Silicon Dust, the makers of the HD Home Run digital television tuners. Sorry, I was playing a little burger time here, not doing very well. So we're taking a look at some stuff from Retrobit, and they are really cranking out a lot of stuff this year because there's a whole emergence of retro gaming going on. We saw them last year, and now there's a lot more stuff this year because people like me who are aging want to relive our childhood on our HD televisions, and they've got a bunch of new systems and a bunch of new controllers. This is called the Power Stick, and for those of us who remember, the most sought-after joystick for your Nintendo Entertainment System was the NES Advantage. This one looks a lot like it, but it's all mechanical switches here. It clicks. Listen to this. So you've got mechanical switches here on the joystick itself and the buttons. It feels like an arcade stick, but is modeled after the NES Advantage stick. And I also want to show you, too, inside of this Res Plus, I think we reviewed this one a few weeks ago. They're making new games and also licensing old games. And this cartridge, although it doesn't look like an NES cartridge from its casing, will work on the original system. So you can buy these games. They have multi-cart packs here. They're all fully licensed and legit. You can pop them in these new systems or the old systems, and everything will work. So we're going to walk over and check out a couple other things on that note. They're releasing some new games as well. So this is called R-Type 3. And they're doing these collector's packs because retro gamers like to collect things, and you get a bunch of feelies, as they used to call them back in the day. The cartridge, along with some stickers and some other things with the game. I think they also sell the game just standalone as a cartridge. Got another one here, Joe and Mac, that they're reviving as well. Again, the cartridges look a little different, but you're allowed to play these essentially on your old systems or your new ones too, which is pretty cool. Now let's go over here to this other little display. This is called Holy Diver, and there is a lot of stuff that you get with the collector's edition here. So you get the NES cartridge for your 8-bit Nintendo system. That one's gold, just like the old Zelda cartridges are. You get a little figurine that goes in there and stuff. People used to get games like this. When you bought a game, you get all this stuff with it, and they're trying to revive that. For those of us who remember, they've got some other games they're working on here too. And there's some people playing this right now, so we'll just kind of show it from a little bit of a distance, and maybe Goldie can zoom in. But this is the Super Retro Trio, and it plays the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, as well as the Nintendo Entertainment System too. So you get all of that in one. You can hook up all your old controllers to it, and it'll work with their multi-carts or your original cartridges as well. We should probably try to get one of these in. We've been looking at all of these HD retro reboot consoles, and these are the kinds of things that people buy as gifts for people in their lives. A lot of us have the cartridges, but not the consoles, or we want to hook it up to our HD TV, and it looks like a pretty cool system there. So we'll be on the lookout for that very soon. So here's one other thing worth taking a look at. This is the Go Retro Portable. It looks like a little Game Boy, but it has about 350 games preloaded on it. Many of them will be licensed, so some of your old retro Nintendo games will be on this thing. And what struck me about it was the price point, $35. They're going for big box retail like your Walgreens and Best Buys and that kind of thing, and I think this might do pretty well. It feels well built. It doesn't feel cheap to me. It's got a nice little display. They're playing a football game I used to play as a kid. I can't remember the name of this one, and I just think it's pretty cool. Now, you can't put your own games on it, so you're going to be able to play only what's on the console itself. But again, this is something I think that might do really well in retail because it's an affordable and cool stocking stuffer. So I'm going to get in trouble here because I can't leave this place. There's more stuff to see. Here is some controllers that are licensed from Sega. We're going to start with the Genesis ones here, and they have modeled the 6-button controller, which some say, many say, maybe myself included, was the best Sega Genesis controller there was, and they have two versions of it. So one will work with the old systems with the original little plug thing, you know, what you expect, but they also have a USB version, and they're working on Bluetooth versions as well. And these are all officially licensed by Sega. They're going to be working with them to make sure they get it right. And a lot of us were fans of the Dreamcast, which did not last as long as we would have liked it to have lasted, and they're revitalizing Dreamcast controllers too. They got a Bluetooth one, and they're also remaking new Dreamcast controllers too here, it looks like. And here's something else that's interesting, because a lot of people want to hook up their Dreamcast to a nicer display, and the Dreamcast had a VGA output, but you needed the box to do it, and they're getting harder to find. They've got one here. It looks like they're going to revitalize that VGA adapter. Not HDMI, but a lot of televisions still support VGA input, and you can get your Dreamcast hooked up with some better quality stuff. And let's not forget about the Sega Saturn too. I actually bought a Saturn recently. I didn't own one back in the day, but they've got some new controllers for that. Again, one for the original Saturn and then one that has a USB connector. Sega made some really good controllers in the 90s, and I'll be very interested to see how close they get these to the originals. This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast, Chris Allegretta, Steve Blixt, Stanley Taub, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.